Hello and welcome to Creative Vitality Jam Sessions. Here we have intimate conversations with extraordinary dance and theater artists about reimagining creativity and supporting and building community. CVJS and I walk in solidarity and as allies for equity, justice, equality, and respect. And I want to urge all of us to keep the faith today on November 4th. I'm Helen Pickett, and our wonderful guest today is Sophie Laplane. She is an independent choreographer and a resident choreographer of the Scottish Ballet. Sophie and I have known each other since 2013. Welcome, Sophie.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here.
Of course. Well, first of all, I love talking to a fellow choreographer, and as you know, with all of these conversations, we all have a history together. So I'm really happy. I think you might be the 45th or 46th interview. So it's great to have you here. This is the first question that I ask everybody. Where in the world are you?
I'm in France at the moment, a bit outside of Paris, and we're in lockdown again. So
yes, you're in lockdown again.
But yeah, you adapt, and yeah, I'm keeping working via Zoom. So
yeah, so you're just outside of Paris, like in a suburb of Paris?
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everybody, I just want you to know that the ambient sound is the lawnmower, pardon me. So, Sophie, I'd like to start actually with your resident choreographer position with Scottish Ballet. Your first work for them was in 2013 with Oxymore, is that right?
Exactly.
Okay. And can you describe this first experience? And so the first experience of choreography, and within that question, did you know you wanted to be a choreographer? And how did it shift your creative life, this one experience? Because Oxymore was a really amazing piece.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it all started when Christopher Hampson, so the artistic director of Scottish Ballet, organized a workshop for any of the dancers that wanted to have a go at choreographing. Yeah. So I put my name down. From back at school, we had a choreographic teacher. Oh. And I remember really enjoying those classes because, well, it was that moment during the week where you could do whatever you felt like. And so I kept a very fond memory of that feeling. So when Chris organized the workshop, I put my name down, and he gave us the task of creating a 1-minute solo, which is challenging because having something to say in just 1 minute, yeah, it can be tough. Anyway, so the following week we showed that 1-minute piece, and then he gave us the second task, which was to create another solo of 1 minute. So I decided to keep with the same concept and the same piece of music and created on another dancer. And my concept was for the dancer to be on the spot, so static. Anyway, the following week we show our second 1-minute solo, and a few weeks later Chris asked me to put them together. So it's 2 solos that became a duet, basically. And then he asked me to do the full length of the piece of music, which is 6 minutes. And I just remember back then, for me, 6 minutes, I was like, how am I going to do that? Like, plus I committed to the fact that it would be static. So 6 minutes static. Anyway, it really pushed me. And that's when I realized that with restriction, first of all, the first restriction was the 1 minute. And then with my own restriction, the fact that it was static, that it really pushed my creativity. And actually, it opened up a whole new world in the sense that recently it's been performed by 12 dancers in Argentina. So who would have thought that from 1 minute solo, it would have traveled and be performed right to this day in the other part of the country, of the world, sorry.
World, yeah.
So, yes. So I really learned from having the restriction that it kind of pushes you and pushes your creativity. Well, and as well, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, as a dancer, I really got to know myself as well. Because as a choreographer, you question a lot of things. I'm not saying dancers don't question things, but I think you do ask yourself, like, why you take more decisions, and why do you take those decisions, and what are you more inclined to do? And so all this kind of mechanism of asking yourself question as a dancer afterwards, that really helped me as well to know myself and the choices you make. So yeah, it really pushed me to evolve as an artist.
Yeah, what I wanted to also agree with is that it's that moment when you realize how important restrictions and boundaries are. It's amazing, right? Because most of the time we're taught to break apart as artists, break away from that. But I had a similar thing happen, or many times throughout my life as a dancer and then as a choreographer. And I agree with you. There is a new freedom that one can find within this boundary that you must stay in. And I also learned so much from those situations. And I actually teach it now when I teach choreography. And for example, improv is always so, people that haven't done it are always so afraid of it. And then I actually say, think of it like a boundary, because the improv I teach is actually technique. So it's like, you must stay in the technique. Mm-hmm. I just smiled when I heard you say that, because that was a very big eye opener for me as well. The restriction.
Yeah, it pushes you to think outside of the box, and
that's a paradox.
Because yes,
giving yourself
that. Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So now, 7 years later, how has your process expanded, and what has emerged? Right now, you know, the level of importance always shifts. So how has your process expanded? What has emerged as important right now, in terms of what you need to express or say?
I guess I've experimented with different formats, from digital work to having a 45-minute piece with an orchestra for Dexter. And I think working with Scottish ballet dancers that I know very well, and they know me, really allowed me to build up and take it from where we left it last time. And the trust is already there. So we're not scared of trying things out. And I think as well, having the fact that I'm freelance also, and discovering new dancers, it takes me into unknown territories, direction that I wouldn't necessarily go. So in a way, having those books, it's a luxury to have those books, possibilities to push myself. I think it's the best cocktail in a way to to build up and to get to evolve as an artist.
Yeah.
And I also did a master's in choreography. Obviously, you don't need a master's to choreograph, but it was so beneficial for me to take that time to get to know myself more and try things out, because it was a platform where I was able to try things. And from one project to another, having that time to reflect on it and to analyze a bit my choices and understand them. So that was really part of my 7 years of building up. And I guess my work has matured during those 7 years. It's more complex, there's more layers, and that keeps on going and going and going. But I think one thing that's really stayed is the fact that it's important for me that my work is accessible, and human behavior and emotions always fascinated me, and it's such a rich kind of subject that, I mean, there's so much to explore. And I guess I like sometimes as well to use humor to touch a more serious subject, I would say, so that there is an underline, so it can be interpreted differently. I mean, I guess as well, during those 7 years, what I've really learned is to keep going, even if you're stuck, even if you're not sure about where you're heading. That creativity is, it's like a muscle. You just need to keep at it, keep at it, keep at it.
Really? Yeah, exactly. So you also danced with Scottish Ballet. And I forgot, how many years were you a dancer there?
13 years.
13, yes. And during your dance career, what ideas did you attach to? And what kind of roles or creative experiences? And with looking back, with hindsight, what practices influenced your choreography?
Well, what I find great with Scottish Ballet is the wide range of different styles, from nutcracker to more contemporary, like such as Vigier and Gribben. So, but what I particularly like is new works, because being a dancer and being created on has such a big impact. And as well, some choreographers give you the opportunity to suggest things or try things, or gives you tasks to try things out. So all that contributed as well to, again, get to know myself better. And I mean, I can't pinpoint one specific choreographer that really influenced me. It's just an ensemble of different choreographers, and seeing them as well using different process. And I think me as well, I will continue using different process to transmit. And so definitely new works for me has a big impact. And as well as a dancer, I really try to get into the heads of the choreographer, try to understand how their thinking process. And I used to love when choreographers think out loud. When they say, no, we can't do that because that dancer needs to go in that way, and we can't. And that was actually like really like enriching to try and understand the way of thinking and the process of the choreographer. So, yeah.
I'm similar to you. I love process. And so I kind of drink in my environment. I gather because like you, I find human nature just so fascinating and beautiful and perplexing and funny and everything. So yeah, similar feel there. I have a question. It's a simple question, but it's not on the list. Have you ever worked on point yet? Have you choreographed on point?
Yes. So Dexter, there's one duet that's on point.
Okay.
And as well at the New York Choreographic Institute.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you wrote, here's Dextera. You wrote that Dextera, your one-act work, celebrated the art of the creative act, creativity. Can you explain that?
So the title refers to dexterity, so the skill in performing a task, especially with hands. So there is this like motive throughout the piece with hands, and it's accentuated by the creators wearing red gloves. Anyway, it was a commission for Scottish Ballet's 50th anniversary. So I wanted something celebratory. And when I think of Scottish Ballet, I think of creativity. And I knew I was going to be working with the orchestra. So I decided to use Mozart's music for two reasons. For me, Mozart had the widest range of emotions that I needed for the piece. And as well, the second one is the fact that there's this given idea of creative genius in Mozart. And when actually I heard that his hands were deformed because he was such a hard worker. So yes, he was very talented, but he worked hard a lot. So yes, Dexter is really about creativity and sheer hard work. And I was also lightly influenced by the myth of Pygmalion and the idea that when the creation comes to life, it has, when the creation is made, it has a life of its own. And it's a bit like choreography. Yeah. It's once they're out there on stage, well, it's out of your hands. Right. So it has life. So yes.
Beautiful. Yes, that's something I love about the performative arts in general. It is life, and like life, it is ephemeral. You go, and it's there and it's gone, and that one performance will never happen again. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's so much like, you know, every moment of our lives. That moment will never happen again. There's something so beautiful, and again, like a paradox, right? Because we make a work. It seems to be stable, but it's constantly in motion, and it's gone with a blink of an eye, but it's still stable. And I love that paradox.
Yeah. Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so do you have bucket list projects or travel or life experiences? It's kind of
how much time do you have?
Why don't we concentrate on like one from each?
Like okay. Storytelling. I've never done a storytelling piece, so I'd love to have a go at that. Okay. I've got a few ideas, so hopefully one day I'll take the light for sure. Then I would love to be able to do my own films and editing them as well,
Yeah.
especially in the world we're living in
Yeah.
at the moment. I think it would be amazing, and yeah, I've got a high interest in that. I'd love to design my own house as well. My dad is an architect, so I would love, yeah, for us two to kind of, yeah, design it. Although he's more into wood, I'm more into concrete, so
Okay.
I think there'll be a bit of negotiations there. But yes, and traveling, Petra in Jordan.
Yeah, me too.
I want to go there, absolutely. But then there's so many. There's the Grand Canyon. I love to go there.
Beautiful.
Machu Picchu. The Taj Mahal. Like,
that's
yeah.
amazing. I went there. We did what you're supposed to do. The town Agra. So we got in late and we got our little hotel, but we found a hotel that had a rooftop that looked, it was far away, but it still looked at the Taj.
Oh,
and we got up early in the morning before sunrise and we walked. There's a very long walkway and we walked, and then mist. It was like everything I hoped for. There was mist that was coming off the water, and it is bombastic. It is a bombastic experience, but I am with you with Petra. That has been my whole adult life. I think since I first read about it. This just the idea of, again, looking at what humans can do. Yeah. Right? I mean, yeah. It's breathtaking.
It is, yeah, definitely.
I didn't know your dad was an architect.
Yes.
So can you share a favorite or impactful memory or memories from your creative life?
I got several. Well, one is when the orchestra and the dancers came together in Dexter. And especially there was that one moment where I've got like floating hands just falling, and just the combination of those three things, dancers, orchestra, and those hands just dropping down, was just magical. So that was a beautiful, beautiful experience. First time I took the plane by myself as a freelance choreographer to go to the New York Choreographic Institute. That was a proud moment for myself, in the sense that, yeah, when you're in a dance company, like you've got Matthew, our company manager, that takes care of everything, and you kind of just follow the group. And this time I was really by myself. So yeah, I think that was a proud moment for me. Beautiful. And and the first time I heard that a dancer progressed by working with me, and a dancer saying to me, "Oh, I never knew my body could do that." And it's just to know that you've contributed to the development of a dancer. It's just the best feeling. And so much so that I decided this year to take a teaching course, a dance teaching course, because I wanted to know more how to really get the best out of your dancers, and finding ways of like transmitting the best I can. And for one dancer it can be this way, but for another dancer it doesn't work, so you need to find another way of getting through your ideas or your movements. And so yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Do you have an insight or a daily inspiration that you can share? Something something daily that is like a mantra or something, or an inspiration.
Right. I came across on Pinterest, and Pinterest is one everyday inspiration. I spend hours on it. There's so many great things on it. But I came across this sentence that it was written, be stubborn about your goals and flexible about your methods. And I thought, that's a good one.
That's a good,
really good one. And another one that's quite really good for the situation we are in at the moment is from Twyla Thorpe. And she says, art is the only way to run away, even if you're at home. Yeah. And it's so true. It is so true. So yes, that definitely, yeah, I couldn't agree more with that.
Beautiful. Thank you. Those are great. Those are really beautiful. Thank you. So, you know, we are delving into this and grappling with this next question, and hopefully moving forward. I feel like there's movement over here in supporting and building a more equitable dance community that has more equality, more equity, more respect and justice. What do you believe? I know a lot needs to be changed, but what do you believe? What is one thing that you focus on right now that could change for us in the dance world?
Have you seen the TEDx, the TED Talk, sorry, from Sir Ken Robinson?
No.
When he speaks, oh, you need absolutely to watch it. He, so his title is Do Schools Kill Creativity? And his whole, he explains it much better than I will, but I'll try. He explains the fact that actually you get educated out of creativity. Picasso said that all children are born artists, but what happens is that, well, I can see it, especially, I can speak about France, and I can totally agree on that, is that when you go to school, mistakes are the worst things you can do. Or so you get frightened of trying things out. And as well, it's just, he speaks about the fact that why just develop one side of the brain, mathematics, one side, and you completely forget about all the fact that you've got a body. Like, why not use the full potential of humans? So saying that, yeah, and he does say something very funny as well, is that our body isn't just a transportation for our heads, you know, it's, you know, we need to like fulfill our whole capacity and knowing how to move. So for me, I know it might be idealistic, but from school, all schools, public schools everywhere, we dance, and all the creativity should still like well, needs to be pushed. So we're like, yeah, really push on our full capacities, and not just one side of the brain, just the academic side.
Yeah.
And because in France as well, like going to dance classes, it's almost a luxury, because you need to afford to be able to pay outside of the education system classes. But if it's part of
I think that could be really possible in Europe because there's more funding. I really do. I think it could be really possible. I think that when I was a kid, there was definitely, you know, I mean, recess and art, it was all a part of things, even music, like we learned how to play little musical instruments, everything. So I agree with you very much there. There's a wonderful book by Philip Gardner called Multiple Intelligences, and it talks about the same thing, that, that we have so many different kinds of intelligences in our body that it is to the great detriment of the human being not to at least tap in, or maybe plant a seed in everyone, because every human being might have, every human being might have a talent in some kind of art, but something has to be opened. And it's basically what you're talking about, the seeds planted. So what we've been talking about a lot in this conversation is that there's so much possibility. I hear you say it, your whole conversation. It's a possibility that's there that excites. You know? Yeah, education.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody will become dancers.
No.
Not everybody will become mathematicians.
That's
so
right.
why privilege one and not the other? So
Yeah.
there's so many different forms of intelligence.
Yeah, and you know, my mom also said, all through growing up, she said, the best doctors have studied art of some kind. You know, the best, let's say, math side people and scientists, and the best artists have studied, like the math side of things. So there's an integration that makes a wholer idea of whatever profession you're doing. I think it also makes people more humane.
Yes.
To know that there are many different sides.
Yes. And we are seeing that with the benefits for well-being and the health through movement. So it's really important on that. Yeah.
Exactly. Sophie, it's been such a pleasure. I always love these talks because, you know, selfishly, it gives me a moment to connect with my friends again that are so far away.
Well, it's lovely to see you.
Yeah, it's just wonderful to hear how you've developed, because, you know, I saw you and met you at the beginning of your journey, and we actually worked together in choreography. So I haven't been around as much to see your development. I've seen the work, but so it's really beautiful to see 7 years later, to hear where you are. And it's very exciting, Sophie. Do you, besides social media, do you have a website that people can go to find out more about you?
Yes, just sophielaplane.com.
Good. And then you're also, do you have tags on social media?
I just have Instagram.
Okay.
S Laplane Choreographer.
Good. Okay, excellent. So, and also everybody who's watching, there is a short bio in the description page of Sophie below the video. And we have new guests every week. And our next interview will actually feature 2 more Scottish Ballet people, Constant Vigier and Marge Hendrick. And they will be here together as talking together about their artistic lives. And now is time for thanks. I want to thank Gracie Spina, the amazing intern, co-producer, everything. Helps me so much every time we do one of these interviews. Thank you, Gracie. Thank you to our wonderful dance community who inspires, well, me, and I know you daily. I'm always thankful to be a part of this community. And Sophie, thank you so much. You were just a pleasure, and I wish you all the best.
No, thank you.
Keep reimagining creativity. I hope to see you soon. Bye.
Bye.